What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Shameless Watch Collector. I am so excited for this video because today we're taking an in-depth look at one of our 2025 AliExpress Watches of the Year, the Watchdives WD0003C. This is one of, if not the best, dial ever created on a watch sold on AliExpress, with a manufacturing process that belongs on a watch at least 10 times its price. And that price makes even less sense once you get it in hand. Oh, and it gets even better. I have two of these beauties with me here today, the green Ice Crack dial and the blue Aventurine dial. Same watch, but two completely different textures, and we get to take an in-depth look at both. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before we get into the review portion of the video, let me explain how I ended up with two of the same watch, but in different dials, because as much as I wanted this thing, I promised the plan wasn't to own two, and it's kind of a funny story. So I actually asked for the blue Aventurine one for Christmas from my parents. I asked for it back in like September or October, and then patiently waited until Christmas to see if my parents remembered. Christmas Day came and went, and no Watchdives, which is totally fine. I didn't fully expect it anyway, and I obviously didn't even mention it to my parents when I didn't get it. But about a week later, I got an email from Watchdives asking if I wanted to review one of their watches at a very discounted price. I was so stoked on that for so many reasons, and now I could finally grab the Aventurine. So I headed over to their website to grab it, and it's sold out. It's since been restocked, but I didn't know if it would be at the time. And I'm in love with pretty much every other texture Watchdives offers on this piece, so I wasn't too bummed, especially since the green Ice Crack dial was in stock. So I ordered that one and had an estimated shipping time of about 7 days. Around 5 days later, I get a text from my mom asking if I forgot a beautiful watch at their house when I visited. So I asked her to send a photo of the watch, and this is what she sent. Yup. It turns out my mom bought it all the way back in October when I asked for it, and by the time Christmas came around, she forgot she even bought it. Sorry guys, they're getting old. I don't know what to tell you. All that matters is that I love them. They're amazing for getting me this watch. And now I had two WD0003Cs in totally different textures. And funnily enough, I met up with my parents 2 days after that phone call for my dad's birthday dinner, where they gave me the Aventurine. When I got home from that dinner, there was a package from Watchdives on my front doorstep. I somehow got both of these watches on the same day. Hope you guys enjoyed that story. It's all true. Now let's get to the review. We'll do the same categories as always, but there is only going to be one final grade at the end. When it comes down to it, these are the same watch with the same manufacturing process, so they should be consistent in quality everywhere. But if one falls short somewhere, it'll affect the final grade. I'm also going to call it the WD3C for the rest of the video. Let's start with dimensions, like we always do. The WD3C is sized right where you want a dress watch to be. So much so that I think you could comfortably call this a unisex watch. It's 38mm in diameter, with a lug-to-lug of 45.5mm. Thickness is so important on a watch like this, it needs to sit flush on the wrist. And Watchdives understood the task and delivered what I consider to be a perfect thickness of 11mm. This is one of those watches where the size can look a tiny bit underwhelming when you first open the box though. I think it's because Watchdives post these amazing photos online where the dial looks larger than life, and I think I created some unrealistic expectations in my mind. But how it looks in the box doesn't matter. What matters is how it looks on wrist. And because of the dimensions and how thin it is, it looks perfect. The dial looks far more impressive once you're wearing it. It's similar to the 36mm Addies I reviewed that had such good dimensions it felt like it wore bigger than a 36. It's like that, but a few levels up. It's so well executed that once you have it on, you won't want it to be bigger than 38mm, even if you normally prefer bigger dials. It just feels that perfect. Let's keep it moving with materials and craftsmanship. We're going to focus on the bracelet, case, and clasp here. We'll cover stuff like the lume, crystal, and all that in the dial section. This is the area where I was the most surprised. And again, I blame those damn Watchdives photos. I've been so mesmerized by the dial textures in the photos that I generally never paid that close of attention to the bracelet, the clasp, or honestly even the case. I obviously knew all the specs. I'm basically an AliExpress watch encyclopedia at this point, so I was aware everything here is 316L stainless steel, case, bracelet, clasp, case back, everything, but I hadn't noticed the fine details. I honestly didn't notice the absolutely gorgeous, premium-looking polished lines running through the middle of the brushed edges. This is one of the most stunning bracelets I have ever seen, and the way it transitions so seamlessly onto the case, just chef's kiss. Watchdives had to be careful with this piece about where to show off what they can do without taking too much attention away from the dial. This right here was the right choice. My friend, who was very excited to see this watch in person, said the exact same thing. We both spent more time drooling over the bracelet than we even did the dial, and I think it's because the quality caught us completely off guard. And don't get me wrong, this isn't my first Watchdives piece. I'm familiar with their quality standards. I mean what I say about them in my videos, and I knew what to expect, and this still blew me away. Another thing to note about this bracelet is how small you can size it. Thanks to several removable links and a 5-position micro adjustment clasp, it can be sized all the way down to a 5.1-inch wrist. That is way smaller than your average 38mm watch is capable of. I can't stress enough how smart this is. In my opinion, this is the type of unisex watch that can sell really well with both women and men. I could be wrong, but I don't think women want diamonds, gold, pink, or light blue, always on a leather or silicone strap, on every single watch available to them. I think just like us, they also like really good looking watches. Crazy concept. And it's important to make sure they fit so they can experience amazing bracelets like us too. So this is brilliant from Watchdives, and it saves them from having to create dumb pieces like San Martin just did. On both bracelets, I was able to find the perfect fit by removing 3 links and moving over 2 slots on the micro adjustment clasp. Another really cool option Watchdives offers is an optional on-the-fly adjustment clasp from their website that fits right onto this watch, and it's only $25. So while I do like the clasp on this watch, I think I'm going to try that upgrade on at least one of them, and I'll report back in a future video. I'll leave the on-the-fly adjustment clasp linked in the description as well, so you can check it out. As you'd expect with Watchdives, you're also getting a screw-down crown and case back here, along with 100 meters of tested water resistance, which I think is plenty for a dress-style watch. So in conclusion on the materials, it's impressive that the dial isn't the only place Watchdives took a massive step up here. The bracelet feels and wears as premium as it looks, and it's another reason to be impressed by the WD03C. Time to talk about the movement. This is where some of you might start to disagree with me. What's inside this watch might surprise some of you if you don't know already. If you've been watching the videos here, you've probably noticed that Seconds hand sort of sweeps, but not quite. And that's because it's a quartz. The VH31 specifically. I can understand how that's confusing for some people. I just gushed over the bracelet quality, and we haven't even gotten into the dial process or materials yet. Everything else about this watch points towards a piece that would use something like a PT5000 or Miyota 8215. But here's my argument, and it's simple. The price. Once we get to the price section, it'll all make sense. Because in my opinion, the rest of this watch is so ridiculous that I can't even believe they could afford anything besides one of those $1 quartz movements that you can find on AliExpress. So the VH31 doesn't bother me at all. I don't mind a quartz watch, and actually really like the VH31 style second sweep. I like it way more than your standard tick-tick on a quartz. As long as the rest of the watch is delivering amazing value, you are never going to hear me complain about this movement. So if there was somewhere Watchdives had to save money to make this watch look and feel the way it does, this was the obvious and maybe only place to do it. I don't think the VH31 is a big sacrifice at all. And we've made it to dial and design. Finally, I get to talk about this dial. You guys have no idea how much I've had to cut out of list video scripts when talking about this watch and its dial process, or else those videos would have been even longer than they already are. So I'm so excited to finally nerd out properly. Alright, before we even talk about the crystal, lume, hands, or any of the usual dial details, we have to talk about what Watchdives is doing here from a manufacturing standpoint. Because the reason this dial looks like it costs stupid money is because the process behind it basically does. The first thing that we do is strict selection on materials. Watchdives claims only around 30% of the raw dial material makes the cut. And that matters more than people think, because with textures like this, you can't fake that beautiful chaos. You need rich patterning, clarity, and that balanced texture where it all looks wild, but not messy. If the base material is weak, no amount of finishing is going to save it. So right out of the gate, they're throwing away most of what they start with, just to make sure what survives is the kind of dial that already looks special before they even touch it. And now we go off the rails. They start with the deep relief engraving. That's the foundation of this whole look. It's not just a printed pattern or a light stamp that disappears the second you get the watch under real lighting. This is real depth, physical texture. It's the difference between a dial that only looks good in a photo and a dial that looks alive in person and when you tilt your wrist. Then comes 4 rounds of sandblasting at 200 psi. 4 rounds. That is what you call controlled brutality. The point is to carve out contrast and bring out the shape of the texture without destroying it. Too light and it looks flat. Too aggressive and you lose definition. 4 passes tells me they're chasing a very specific look. And to get that look, you have to be willing to sacrifice a ton of dials, because this is not a gentle or easy process. After that, we have hand water brushing. This is one of those steps that sounds simple, maybe even unimportant, until you realize it's basically the human touch of the whole operation. You're refining the surface, controlling how it catches light, and making sure the texture doesn't look like a raw industrial part. This is also where the finishing process has officially begun. And then you get into the paint work, gradient lacquer spraying. That's where the green ice crack and the blue aventurine become 2 totally different personalities. Because the texture is already doing its thing, but the gradient application changes how the depth reads. It adds dimension without covering up the dial. Think of it like shading a sculpture instead of painting a flat surface. And then the part that really explains why the survival rate is so low. 20 layers of clear lacquer. 20. This is what gives that dial that glassy depth, where it's not shiny, it's stacked. It looks like there's a layer of water sitting on top of it. But the more layers you add, the more chances you have for dust, bubbles, uneven curing, or tiny imperfections that ruin the whole thing. So every layer is genuinely a big risk, and it gets even harder as you go. As someone who has painted thousands of car parts in my life, I can't even begin to explain how difficult and nerve-wracking this part of the process would be. And when a brand is willing to do 20 layers, they're telling you that they're chasing a final result that just about every other watch in this price range would never even attempt. And then we finish it all off with the indices. These are Swiss A-grade applied markers with sharp edges, clean finishing, and perfect alignment. And I'm glad they didn't skip on this, because in a dial like this, anything slightly off will scream at you. A crooked marker could ruin the whole illusion instantly. So if you're going to build a dial that looks like a piece of art, the furniture on top of it has to match that same standard. And expensive applied indices like these keep everything consistent. And we stay in Switzerland for the lume as well, using Swiss Superluminova EGW9 Blue on both the hands and markers. The lume is crisp, very bright, and lasts a long time. And they didn't even skip on the hands. They used Japanese Mitsubishi materials, premium alloys, selected for purity and durability. Dual finishing too, front brushed, sides polished with mirrored chamfers, and razor sharp transition lines that create a 3-dimensional effect. So yeah, I'm not exaggerating in the slightest when I say that this dial process belongs on something that costs way, way more. The materials are picky, the finishing is so intense, the failure rate is high, and the final assembly has to be perfect or the whole thing falls apart and gets thrown away. And this is the same process for every texture available on the WD03C. There's a huge variety: mother of pearl, ice crack, aventurine, frosted, tree pattern, and mint. I don't think any watch comes close to matching the texture variety available on this model. And with a dial with this much work behind it, you better protect it and display it properly. Predictably, they did, but even better than I expected, and more than you usually see at this price point. You're getting sapphire crystal, but with 3 layers of AR coating, and those layers do make a noticeable difference in clarity. It's going to take all my willpower to not end up owning 5 of this watch. The time has finally come for me to tell you guys what that price is. The WD03C is currently available on the Watchdives website for $139. And the price does not change based on the texture. You can pick from any of the several textures available, and it's still $139. For all the premium materials you're getting here, plus how much material they throw away and how tedious the dial process is, I genuinely do not understand how Watchdives doesn't lose money every time they sell one of these. And to bring up the movement one more time, that's why I don't mind the VH31 at all. The only way I can even begin to understand that $139 price tag is that quartz movement that I still really enjoy. And you guys know I'm obsessed with value, and that's the main reason this is one of my favorite watches in the world. Now it's time for the final grade. The Watchdives WD0003C is marking uncharted territory on Shameless Watch Collector. This is our first ever watch to earn an A+ grade. I know some of you are going to disagree with this. I've seen comments about people finding imperfections on their WD03Cs, but I have to go with the two in front of me right now. That's what I'm reviewing. And what I'm looking at are two watches that I consider perfect. The bracelet quality is up there with San Martin, with some of the prettiest brush to polish transitions I've ever seen. And I can't think of any other AliExpress watch with an on-the-fly clasp upgrade available for it, especially for only $25. That feels like a no-brainer, especially with how inexpensive the rest of the watch is. The unisex sizing, both on the case and bracelet, also earns it bonus points. I genuinely think this is one of the most universal watches out there. Anybody can love it, and it can fit and look good on just about anyone's wrist. Watchdives didn't skip anywhere when it comes to materials, and they honestly went over the top in most areas. 3 layers of AR coating, multiple parts from Switzerland, Japanese Mitsubishi alloy hands. They really flexed their muscle and went all out on this watch. And then the dial process. I love talking about it because it still blows my mind how unreal it is for the price. This is microbrand level work that normally costs 4 figures, at least. And yeah, it's easy for a brand to claim they do all this, but when you see the watch in person, you know they aren't lying. You can't reach this level of clarity without 3 levels of AR coating. You can't make a dial look this alive and glassy without something like 20 layers of lacquer. You can't get dial color that moves this much without a brutal sandblasting process and brilliant gradient painting. And you can't deliver a watch this good consistently without throwing away the ones that don't meet your standards. If Watchdives was lying about any of this, it would be blatantly obvious. This watch delivers on all fronts, and I don't think anyone would regret spending the money on it. It's so obvious where the price came from, and then some. And you can also save extra on it. Watchdives provide the channel with an exclusive discount code. SWC 15 for $15 off of any order over $150 at watchdives.com. I'll leave this watch linked in the description. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for I guess what you can call a moment in history on Shameless Watch Collector, our first A+ watch. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and if you guys get this watch, I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. Thank you guys so much for all the support lately. My next video will be part 3 of my AliExpress brand guide, where I'll also be giving away my 2,500 subscriber watch. The support just means more than I could ever put into words, guys. It's truly unreal. Having your guys' back, all your enthusiasm, all the comments, everything that you guys do is what keeps me motivated and why I work so hard in this channel. I cannot stress enough how much all of my subscribers mean to me. And do not forget to check out part 2 of my AliExpress brand guide to enter that 2,500 subscribers watch giveaway before it's too late. I'll see you guys in part 3, and good luck to all those who enter. But for now, Shameless Watch Collector, signing off. And don't forget, it's not that serious.